Hello, my name is Lynette Williams, and I'm a keyboard player. I play with a lot of different artists, and I'm here to show you some of my favorite sounds today. So today I'm going to show you some amazing sounds. I've worked with some amazing artists from Childish Gambino to Lalah Hathaway to now the present Lizzo. And I just want to share with you guys some of my favorite sounds on this Chronos right here. There's so many different variations. That's the cool thing about this board in particular. I use this board for different artists for different genres. And right now I'm going to show you why. So one of my favorite sounds, I'm going to start with one of my favorite sounds, which is from a song called Worst Guys with Childish Gambino. And the reason why this is my most prized sound is because Donald Glover, we've been touring for 3 years, and during the This Is America show, I was just playing it. And a lot of you guys probably know this song. And I remember he looked over and he saw my fingers and he was like, were you playing this song the whole time? It's not in the box, meaning a lot of songs are still tracked out because you only have so many hands, so many fingers. So I was like, that's me playing it. And he was just like blown away. He said, I thought that song was still in the box. And this is a song that he created. And that was so close to that sound that the artist even thought it was their sound. So that's one of my prized sounds. And I created that sound from, it was a Rhodes. And basically, it took me a lot of time to prepare it, but just kind of give you a brief synopsis of how I created that sound. The basis of this sound is a keyboard Rhodes sound. I'll let you hear the factory sound, and then I'll let you hear the sound that I created. So the sound was an EP Mark keyboard. And like, let's say I'm playing the same song with the factory sound. It sounded like this. Right? Nothing to write home about. But then when I added my preamp, so what I did was I went into the IFX mode, and you'll see it down here when you go into Common, IFX, and I'm in MFX mode, and you'll see all these different options. You'll see there's a limiter that I added, there was a verb that I added, and there's so many different types of reverb. You have the wet plate, you have the dry plate, and then you have like room, early reflection, so there's so many different colors. But the reverb smooth hall was what grasped me and what really helped shape this sound. And also you have like a preamp that I added to make it a little more distorted and a little more aggressive. And this is why you hear this sound now. And it was just really cool. That's like one of my favorites. Another sound that I love playing with Donald Glover, it's a song called Sweatpants. And basically I had to mimic a Glock sound. So if anyone knows what a glockenspiel sound is, I'll give you, it's in the vibraphone or bell family. So basically, let's say I'll just pick any kind of factory Glock, which you have here. So to kind of give you an idea, it's kind of a xylophone type sound. So what I did was I amped up the sound. Let me go into the program mode. I amped up the sound. I added some reverb. I always add a little reverb. You can never have enough verb. I also added a preamp as well. So this sound is what you hear now. So do you hear that distortion a little? Right? So you have like the reverb, the preamp. It kind of took the sound to another level. And it also was a sound that matched to the actual record. So another song that is really popular is called Me and Your Mama. So that's a Rhodes sound. That song was actually recorded on a real Fender Rhodes. So playing it live, I couldn't always get a Rhodes. So I had to find a sound that's very similar that I also can like tweak a little to make it sound more authentic. So I'll play a little bit of the intro, and the sound that I'm using is the Frank McComb Mark EP. I didn't really do too much to it because it's one of my favorite songs. One of my favorite sounds. And when I find a sound that I like on any board, I don't touch it. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So this is a sound. it's such a multifaceted sound. Kind of shifting to another artist that I use this sound is Lalah Hathaway. And there's a song that's totally different. It's totally melodic, but it's also a different style. So you just heard me play with Donald because I want you to keep this in your mind. With that genre, it was... right? Which was more, kind of melodic and, angelic. But with Lalah, there are songs like there's two different types of music, but you have the same sound. And it's really cool. I always get so excited when I'm working with an artist and I'm like, sometimes I already know right off the bat. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to program a sound because it's already there with another artist and it'll work for both. So I probably couldn't play the glockenspiel sound with Lalah because it's such a different, it's a specific sound to that song, but it's really cool. Another thing that I love about just playing this keyboard in particular, is I can also play organ. And one of my favorite organ sounds is the Memphis Soul. The only thing, because I'm a real Hammond player too, I didn't internally change anything. I did change the level of the drawbar, but other than that, I kept it the same. The only thing I did was, over here, you'll see sliders over here. And these sliders do multiple things. Like if I'm in combi, and let's say I'm playing, before I go to that sound, I want to show you guys on the organ, there's a patch, it's called piano. I named it Lynette's piano strings. So what I can do is, these are now my sliders where I can take sounds in and out. So let's say I take all these 4 sounds out so you can hear distinctly what each sound is. So in my first slider, it's strictly piano. And after I play that, I'm going to add strings to it. And that's cool because I can bring the strings in and out. It's sliding in and out. Right? It's really cool. Then I was like, you know what? I don't want to stop there. I love pads. So why not add a pad along with the piano? So that's really cool, like how you can just, do different things with the sliders. But when you go over to the organ, it has a totally different job. So like I said, you hit tone adjust, and let's start from square one. I want you to picture that I have a Hammond B3 in front of me, and these are my drawbars. So I'm going to take all my drawbars and bring them all down. I think it goes up, sorry. So I'm going to turn them all off. No sound at all. But like an organ, I can do low tones. Right? Or I can make it fatter. I can pull out not all the drawbars, but most of them, and then, take them to church. And that's what I love about this. But there's also other types of organs that I use with Donald. And there's a particular organ, there's a song he has called Craw. And it's one of his day ones. I'm sure you guys know that song. But it's like a pipe organ-ish type, but it's a synthy type pipe organ. So what I had to do was take the pipe organ sound, and I had to add some more synth elements to it. So what I did was I went into, there were so many facets. I went into basic. I I changed the tone of the organ. So instead of, you have different things, you can add an electric piano to it to make it sound like more electric piano with the organ. But I kept it true to the tone and used the tone wheel organ. But then I went back into one of my favorite modes, MFX, and I added a scratch. Without it, it sounds like this. But with the scratch, it sounds like this. And I add a reverb. So the way the sound sounds together, I don't know if you can hear that scratchiness, but it kind of made it a little gritty without being, the reason why I added a scratch instead of an preamp is because the preamp, I'll show you the difference. With a preamp, it would have just made it a little too, it would have been too aggressive for that particular song. And I'll show you guys, here it is. So this is what it would sound like with a preamp. It's kind of cool, but I felt like the scratchiness was a little too aggressive, which is why I chose scratch, because it meets it right in the middle. So. Right? And as you guys see, there's a pattern here. I love delay. I love delay. I love reverb. I guess you could call me a reverb delay fanatic. If I could, I probably would have as many pedals as guitar players, and I do sometimes with Childish Gambino. I have a phaser pedal now. I have a delay pedal. So sometimes it like that mixed in with the things I can do internally with the board, it's bananas, so that's really cool. And that's some of my favorite sounds with Donald. And there's also a patch that I created called Sex Patch. And I talked about it before. Sex Patch is a lead synth that was birthed from my love for 90s R&B. So a lot of R&B singers like Joe, Jodeci, Blackstreet. There's so many 90s artists, SWV. There's just this lead patch that is just, you hear it in all of that. And it's coming back. I'm hearing a lot in today's R&B, they're bringing it back. So to give you an idea what the sound is, it's basically this. Right? Pretty sexy, right? So that's why, I picked that sound. And this is not a perfected sound for me yet, because it took me weeks, blood, sweat, and tears to create it on another board. And I wanted to bring it to my favorite board. So the cool thing about playing this Chronos is that I can save it as I go. And then let's say I pick it back up a couple of weeks later, it stays that way until I reprogram it. And all I did, I want to just kind of give a little bit of my formula without giving it away. It's kind of like when, people make recipes of food and they don't want to, their secret recipes. So I have secret recipes on this. But to kind of give you an idea what I did, I'll take, let's say I'll take a simple sine lead. And this is the factory sound. Nice, right? But I just kind of want to beef it up a little. So what I did was I took from that sound. It wasn't this particular sound that I made this Chronos Sex Patch, but a lot of things that I like to do when making any kind of synth patch, the first thing I do is go into the EQ, because to me that sets the foundation. So even though I haven't touched any of the attack, I haven't touched any of the delay, any of the resonance, any of the portamento, I want to start with the tone. So here you have in the EQ button, you have the low gain, you have the mid cutoff, you have the mid gain, and you have the high gain. And these can change the colors of each sound. And that's what I did with Sex Patch. And that's all I'm going to give you for that, because I'm still building her. But let's shift gears and let's go to a couple of the sounds. I want to show you how versatile it is, how one sound works for both artists. So there's a song called 3005, and there's a patch called the 1999 Synth, what I did was I totally changed it and made it my own for Donald Glover. So this particular synth patch is really high. It's really hot in the highs, but it still does the job. So this is how it goes. Right? And I love to play along with the pitch bend. And then I'm going to show you how I also use it with Lizzo. She has a song called Juice, and it's more kind of like Prince vibes. So I want you to hear the difference. So it's cool. There's so many different variations, two totally different artists, but I use the same sound. And that was one of those situations where I heard that and I was like, oh my God, I already have this synth for it. I spent time creating it for 3005 and I could also use it on Juice. And like, it kind of reminds me of Prince. And I think that's why the original sound was called 1999, because you have that. Kind of sounds thrillerish too. But I love that sound so much. And like one of the cool things with Lizzo, it wasn't really as hard for me to decipher what sounds to use. And one of the sounds, a lot of people know her song Truth Hurts. And I knew immediately, I was like, that is definitely a honky-tonk piano with some added reverb. So what I did was, before I play it, I just want to kind of show you what I kind of did. So what I did, once again, I went into the EQ. I made the low gain a little hotter, and the high gain is kind of like at 95%. And then my cutoff, I took it down to 500. And the mid gain, I kind of left it. The mid gain was already here, at 1 o'clock, or I don't know how, many people have their different variations, but it was at 70% basically. So what I did was also went into the MFX. I put a lot of stereo reverb. I put overb. Those are the only two effects I used for it. And this is what you have. So it was really cool. And I remember when I first played it, I saw her kind of peek up and she was like, and that's all she said. And I knew, I was like, another one wins. Like, I remember when Donald Glover gave me, that about that one sound he thought was in the box, and then Lizzo. So it is Lizzo approved. And, so it's just been so great showing you guys the many different sounds. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope that, you guys got a lot of info. I hope it'll make you want to go buy some of these amazing keyboards. And please tune in for Gear Fest 2021. It's not over.